Inside it, we've got a special guest joining us today who've recently graduated from our flagship LMA course, and she'll be sharing with us in terms of her journey, how she found the whole process, and everything in between. So, just want to say it's a pleasure to have you. Let's just start with an introductory question. What's your name? Where are you currently based? And what do you currently do?
Hi, my name's Rachna. I'm currently based in Kent in England and I am a pharmacist.
Okay, awesome. Let's start by just rewinding time, Rachna. Before you had come across our LMA course, what was life like for you back then? What problems were you experiencing, and how was you experiencing it? How was it showing up for you?
So I started LMA a few months ago. I was a stay-at-home mum at the time. I obviously did my degree in pharmacy, but at the time that I joined LMA, I was feeling a bit sort of stuck and a little bit saddened inside and didn't really know how to reach my true potential, didn't feel worthy enough of doing so. And I wanted to kind of come out of that fog a little bit and be the like sort of do better for my children. So that's how I noticed a gap in my life, which is how I came across LMA.
Okay. So, what would you say you were feeling every day in terms of what emotions were showing up for you that just felt uncomfortable?
Um, I didn't really see the point of what I was doing in this world, I suppose. I didn't feel good enough or deserving enough to have my fantastic husband and my children. And I think I had been just so darkened by my past that I couldn't live in my present and I was just trapped in that past tense.
Mm. And what was you trying to do to try and cope? What were you using as tools or coping strategies?
To be honest, my coping strategy tends to be a form of distraction. So
Mm.
I kind of just carried on. And like, if you look at me and you look at my life, not many people would really connect to me having a dark past because I've always just carried on and been very good at doing that. So my coping strategy has been avoidance.
Mm. No, I appreciate the honesty. And it's very common avoidance, running away from our problems, brushing it all under the carpet. But something within you wanted you to face it head on. So I suppose tell us the story of how did you come across our message for the first time?
So I suppose it started with just YouTube videos for insomnia. Really easy, just like Googling how to, how to beat that part of it, how to get a good routine and to get out of bed in the morning. Simple things like that, really. How was I going to make myself better so I could be the best mum that I could be to my children? And in searching for those, I came across your YouTube video.
So the advert.
The
uh,
advert, right,
okay.
yeah, and, yeah.
And what made you, I suppose, want to explore further in that moment?
Um, I guess you really spoke to me. I guess the fact that I, have never really, gone on anything self-development related at all. I'm not a person that would ever talk about my past, funnily enough,
Yeah.
and I, have, avoided counselling all my life, and I suppose that the way the reason I've done that is because I don't want to speak about the things. I don't really like to revisit that past. I've done so much in my life to be in such a good position that why should I? And what I got from your video was that there was a way that I could take action to move forward, and that power that I had to be able to actually do something, to not talk about it or wallow in it or discuss it, but just finally be able to take action for myself. And that's what really came out of your video, that there was a way for me to do that.
So after that, you end up joining our free masterclass, Free Secrets to Reinvent Yourself. And you pretty much got involved and had a chance at the end to join the LMA course. So
Right.
considering you were pretty new, Rachna, to personal development, if you were to be honest, what were some of your biggest fears or doubts you had about making that investment? And what ended up putting that doubt to rest for you? Because you did, of course, end up joining us.
Yeah. Um, my fears and doubts, I suppose, was just the fact that, everyone has their own individual story, and I think everybody is trapped in a cycle of nobody understands me. This is so unique because it's my life, and you couldn't possibly know what happened in my life or how to like help me with my life. And I think there were my real reservations with it, that I connected to your story, I sympathized with your story, but it wasn't my story, and it wasn't going to help me because I wasn't in the same position that you were. So how could you possibly do anything to help me? I think that was my main fear of joining LMA. And the reason at that time why I decided to go for it was because I just thought, yeah, he hasn't got my story, but look what his story was and where he is now. And the fact that, it was all about taking action and putting that power back in you. It wasn't like there was going to be something that was going to miraculously fix it, which has always been a bit of a fear of it, kind of. That doesn't, I don't really resonate with that. I think we can all do something to improve our lives, and I think and that's what I really got from the masterclass, that okay, maybe you don't know my story, but I know yours, and I can see where you are. I can see how you've put in that in. So maybe there is something that I can learn off you. And if I don't learn it, then I'll take my money back after the 30 days or whatever the offer was. So yeah, I just took a chance on that and just thought, oh, well, if worst comes to worst, I've wasted a couple of weeks of my life. And in the grand scheme of things, that's nothing.
Mm. So did you join pretty much straight away, or was there some form of hesitancy or?
No, well, I kind of had all this thought process as you were speaking, but I joined like on that call straight away. Yeah, like I definitely just took a chance in myself. I think I was just the deciding factor for me wasn't anything really to do with you. It was to do with, do I want this enough?
Yeah.
Do I want to change? And irrespective of who you are and how you can help me, is this something that I want to take on? And then like, yeah, so why not take a chance on yourself?
So what made you decide that you were ready in that moment to change?
I don't know if I actually realized that I was back then, but what I suppose made me decide was, I think you said something in your masterclass about the fact that a belief like it is a decision, like, and I think that's what it was. It wasn't really that I believed I was ready to change. It was taking the risk that if that's true, then I don't need to believe it. I just need to do it. I just need to get my body moving and just make a new decision. And that is something that appealed to my logical side of my brain, that if I could make the decision right now that I wanted to change, perhaps the belief would come with it in time.
Okay. So you end up taking that leap and joining us on board LMA. In terms of first impressions, when you began to get involved with our work, what would you say made you feel the happiest or surprised you the most when you began to get involved with LMA?
I suppose what made me feel the happiest was the group, the community that was behind LMA, and what the community felt about the leaders, because that's really important. And I think the positivity of that group really vibrated. And when you kind of vibrate on the same level and you're getting all these positive vibes, like physically out of your phone, because,
Mm,
I look at my phone and everything's sort of down and it's all part of my life and my past life and it all comes up. But when you're infused in this community that is so full of positive vibes, then you're getting like positive impact from every angle. And like, so I think that was the thing that surprised me the most, at the impact of the community, because I hate Facebook. I created a new profile to join the community, and then I was pleasantly surprised with how powerful that community was.
okay. In terms of the LMA method, the 6 week journey, which week would you say actually benefited your life the most, and why, and what sort of changes did you actually see during that module?
So I think the biggest impact week for me was week one, because that's the week that you kind of realize that everything's in your power, and you kind of get this sense of what there is light at the end of whatever tunnel that you are walking through. So that, in the sense of intensity, benefited me the most. But then I suppose week one is your foundation week over the course, to set the scene of how you should attack the course. And then, in the other weeks are great for the different areas of your life that you may be going through. So week 1 and week 2 for me were the most powerful, but I was surprised at how much I actually received from week 6, to be fair, as well, given like the nature of what I was going through, and just not understanding sort of people and how to like put my place in this world, and how other people might interfere with my view of things. So week 6 for me was a massive week, but week 1 is where it all started for me.
Okay. And in terms of overall the whole entire LMA journey, because you've completed it, which is awesome, how has it benefited your life specifically? What actual changes have you experienced as a result of going through LMA in terms of your life or your mindset or whatever's relevant?
Right. So, in terms of my career, I was a stay-at-home mum when I joined LMA. Had no intention of going back to work whatsoever. And as part of one of the exercises, which I won't reveal right now, I applied for my master's, extent master's in becoming a prescriber. I've already got my pharmacy degree, but this was to get me back into becoming a prescriber and whatnot. And then now that kind of completely took off. I'm in a completely different place. It's almost surreal. I didn't think that, part of the LMA process is setting your vision and being online with your vision. And I truly just kind of operated with a very trusting level of, oh, I'll just do what he says and maybe it will work, maybe it won't work. But it's so interesting that when I did trust in that process, how things really did unravel. And in terms of day to day, it's a way of life. It's especially from week 1, you start realizing that straight away that LMA is a course that kind of embeds into every moment that you're living. You wake up in an LMA style, you show up in an LMA way. When you're scared, you adopt the LMA process. When you're happy, you embrace that and you're abundant the way LMA teaches you. So it's kind of like it's like an almost a little part of your conscience that is like an LMA part of your brain. And when you're feeling something, you tap into that,
Mm.
and the knowledge that you get from the course to be able to say, okay, how am I going to attack this situation? How am I going to make it apply and help me through this particular part of my day? Be it I need to get out of bed in the morning, or this person's really toxic. What am I going to do about it? So that's how it's really changed me. It's given me the power and the tools really to be able to tap into that when I need to.
Nice. That's the first time I've ever heard it articulated in that way. I love it. So you're saying it's like a lifestyle, essentially,
Yeah,
where you're living
yeah.
it. Yeah, love it. Love that analogy. In terms of the LMA method, in terms of this journey that you've gone on, what would you say really exceeded your expectation that you had when you were joining this course? What really went above and beyond for you, and why? What did you experience?
Um, Gosh. um, Sorry.
Quite a deep question, huh?
Yeah, I suppose the what went above and beyond was the fact that you could tailor it. Like the 6 weeks, in a sense, are as they are,
Mm,
um, but it is also tailored because you will often, like, either with your group coaching sessions that you put on the community group or with the community, they all someone, if you can't relate to something, you can make it relate to you, and
mm,
that's like the biggest thing that I learned with LMA, in fact, of everything, because you'll do sort of week 5, for me wasn't a week that I even thought I had an issue with. But if you start asking yourself the right questions and start saying, like, how am I going to make this week work for me? It's interesting how the course unfolds around what you need,
mm.
because it's using those principles that actually makes it work for you, no matter what your situation is. So I think that's the thing that was the most powerful for me.
Okay. So, I suppose the final question is, what advice would you give to somebody right now who is sitting on the fence of possibly joining LMA, having been on the other side as well? What advice would you give to that student who's possibly considering this course right now?
Right. So I would say take a chance if you can, if you're in the place to be able to just believe in yourself. You don't need to believe in the team. You don't need to believe in me or Tim. You just need to believe that you can overcome this. And you already believe that because you're watching this video and you've watched Tim. And I suppose that belief, just hold on to that because that can come and go, but you've got it now for a reason. And if you trust in yourself to be able to pull out, then come on board and take advantage of the fact that they're still offering this money back guarantee. And when you come onto the community in week 1, shout me, and you'll see loads of other people in LMA that you might connect to, and you'll realize that our stories are so deep. And I think one thing, when I watched somebody else's testimonial, I was thinking, oh, it's like really nice and she's really happy and it's fine. And as you can see, I'm quite a smiley and happy person. But when you connect with me, when you connect with some of the other LMA members, you'll realize like some of the deep and really dark stuff that
Mm.
we can actually sit with, and we can process and be happy. And that's one thing that I can't really express to you, that how liberating that is. But that is something that I have learned to do because LMA has provided me with the tools to be able to do that.